Welcome back. Just like that, we're back and we're moving now into our second segment. And this one is all about
volleyball in Belize. Historical in the making.
And I cannot wait to get into it. We've got the tons in with us. Which ton? We've got Preston. We've got Bryton.
We got
Elton.
Yeah.
Alone ton. The whole mango ton.
And ton mango, that's the best.
Well, so they say, we're not going in here, Pearl.
Okay.
But guys, this morning we started off talking about the various sports discipline and the federations that that deals with it, and the fact that one of the things about these sports disciplines is that you always hear about all this discrepancy that's going on here, going on there, and whatnot. Mm-hmm. One of the things we don't hear that, or the discipline we don't hear that about volleyball. We don't hear that within volleyball. It seems to be one that is well put together, and now we're actually yielding the better part of it. Belize is actually reckoned when it comes to volleyball. Yeah. Good morning and welcome,
guys.
Morning, John. Morning, April.
Let's get to the historical part of this thing. This is actually the Continental Volleyball Championships.
Yeah.
What is that?
So the Continental Volleyball Championships is basically comprised of what is called NORCECA, which is North America, Central America, Caribbean countries. Mm-hmm. So anywhere as far as the true north in Canada all the way down to the south in Panama. Trinidad, is included or could qualify to reach this level of competition.
Equivalent to football and CONCACAF. It's the same,
yes.
It's the same thing.
Right.
So tell us about the magnitude of this. This is historical to us, yes, but there must be a reason why historical. How big is this tournament?
I mean, this is the first time Belize has reached at this level since 25 years ago, since 1998. What? And at that time, it was not even NORCECA, it was the Central American Caribbean Games. But now this, you will meet teams like USA, Cuba, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Guatemala, Belize. So there's a combination of teams from all over the hemisphere. And why this is important is because at this level, your country gets significant ranking points.
Wow.
And that's important to propel further to the next level.
Talk to us about the journey. How did we get there? Why did it take us 25 years to qualify again for these games?
That's a very, very good question. Like any sport, it's about having that long-term athlete development process in place. And I think we're figuring it out now as a volleyball community, what we need to do to ensure that our athletes propel to the next level and our sport propels to the next level. And so I think it's important that we understand that Belize, structurally, we don't have these systems in place that pushes sports to the next level.
Yeah, you're right.
But we have to push as athletes, hold our leaders accountable, hold our association accountable, and we have to hold ourselves accountable as athletes as well to ensure that we reach that level that we want to reach.
We're actually doing this in our country for hobby. This is not because if you want folks to propel from one level to the next and then make it become their lifestyle. Kudos to you too, Bryton, for going above and beyond and doing this. You need to have grassroots. It needs to start there. Yeah. I could remember, and I'll go to football. Lionel Messi went to that academy at 11? Yeah, 11 years old in Barcelona. Why come up as the biggest football player? But the point of the matter is that we need to actually push these things now so people can make life out of it. 1, 2, sprinkle like black pepper when it comes to Belize and going out for it to be life for them. Now let's get to Elton. Elton, let's talk about preparation for these things and how important it is. We're actually moving to another step. Let's talk preparation.
Well, like you rightfully said, preparation starts to me from the early stage. I believe one of the reasons why we're propelling now is because it's not only 1 or 2 clubs now in Belize. We have several volleyball clubs now. Yeah. So now there's a more variety of players to choose from. And now the primary school competition is very competitive. The high school competition is very competitive. All the way at the I'm at the ad-lib stage. And the preparation for these guys have been, I would say, over the past 5 years. They did excellent last year, came in 3rd, which gave them ranking to qualify for this tournament. So this was like a 5 years plan, and these boys have been sticking with it.
Wow.
So,
well, Preston, another ton. You are a volleyball player. Tell us what it means for you as a young athlete to be able to participate in this historic moment alongside of somebody like Bryton, who basically made that way for you.
Well, I have always been playing volleyball under Coach Elton. And when they were training for the senior team that they went to Guatemala last year, I came and I learned a few stuff from Bryton and Coach Elton. And I always wanted to go for like the U19. I went for Kotika there for the U15. We didn't do so well. So when U19 came around, I felt like I was ready. And we went to the U21, but we didn't do too well in that tournament. So I figured, well, I had the U23 coming up in September. That's supposed to happen. So I said, oh well, this U19 came up, and I've always wanted to play stronger guys because I'm relatively tall amongst my fellow teammates.
Yeah, you're taller than we, bro.
But you are 17 years old and you are participating in this game. Talk to us about the training and the amount of hours you have to put in.
Well, I practice for a club and for the national team, so I practice 6 days a week, 7 now that there's on Sundays.
So every day, you practice?
How much hours you put in?
Every practice is 3 hours, and on Saturdays we have two sessions, one at 7 in the morning.
3 hours, 3 hours?
Yeah. Well, the Saturday sessions are a bit longer because that is the only time we actually have everybody. This team is comprised of kids from high school here in Belize, as well as high school in the south and in the north. So only on weekend, because of school commitment, we have everybody together. So that is the time we have to take advantage of.
Let me ask you this. So comprising of young men from Corozal to PG, and then working out only on weekends. Do you think that is enough?
No, we don't work out only on weekend, but weekend is
with the
bulk.
team.
Oh, yeah,
with the team, with everybody, because
as a team, as a unit.
While you guys coming out of this, Bryton playing all the way overseas, Europe, this is what you do every day. And in order for you to excel, you have to be with your team. Everybody have to be comfortable with each other. What would be your recommendation to the authorities? Should these guys be together, or do online classes, have the team together for the month, then eventually we go on out there, see what we do, and then we go back to respective jurisdictions?
Well, you said it. I believe you hit the nail on the head. I have always wanted that the authorities, when it comes to sports at the national level, in any discipline, that we find a way that we can get these kids online. Right? For the reason, the only reason that has always been separating Belize as a country from that first and second is this cohesiveness as a team. When we go to any tournament, whether we come in first, whether we come in last, it's always great recommendation that we have the best talent pool in Central America. But cohesively as a unit, it's hard. Even at the national level, having Bryton all the way in Finland, Francis in America, Karim in Canada, for us to have gotten together would have made a huge difference. So we're hoping Mr. Sharp has reached out to the right authorities, and we're hoping that the schools release some of the boys from down south and have them go online, like you rightfully said. And hopefully these 2 weeks make a huge difference. We know that we're going against giants, but David did slay Goliath, so there's a possibility.
And I'm totally there with you. But one of the things, especially with Bryton Case again and the other guys who are in the US and whatnot, they played professionally, and so therefore they automatically get inclined with their team thereafter. But with these young guys that are coming up, and this big tournament that's coming up, my belief is that they need to be housed. I mean, 1 week, for the week, this is what we're going to do. Weekend, you go home, go to your family. But when you come back, because this is representation at its best, we're talking about history here.
And then when these guys win, it's not only them, it's the country, it's their school, their family,
their country.
Yeah, they're looked up upon as.
But in Belize, and it's not just in volleyball and any kind of sport, we don't use it as a career choice.
It's not a career path for them.
They're not being paid to play. So the fact that you still have to have a daytime job and then come and practice, it takes away from you to get properly trained for your game.
So let me just shed light on that, like you rightfully said, to show you how it would make a huge difference. Every time we go to these tournaments, there are 6 awards. Belize always get 3 to 4 out of the 6 individual awards.
Even with that.
So imagine what we can do
we together
as a unit. Imagine just for that 1 week or that 2 weeks, because nothing like you said, the guys playing in America, they're playing a little faster, they're playing with higher guys, but nothing like having your setter for an entire week to get that rhythm and that cohesion and that unity, and now we can develop our plays as opposed to just going out there and playing nonchalant and just playing basic volleyball.
How have, and I guess this is a question for either Bryton or you, Coach, how have you both been scouting these men for the past few years to get a good team assembled?
Well, I think this is a perfect question for Coach Elton, because he's been working with these guys for quite some years, actually, from they started. You know, he has his academy, which a lot of these boys go to, and they transition right from that into the national team program. So he could speak more to that as well.
Yeah, I'm abreast with a lot of the kids through my academy from primary school. Like, for example, Preston here, I've been with him from he was 8 through the Holy Redeemer program. When I was working at the Stars Volleyball, now I have my own program going on, and that's my scouting. Today is actually the nationals for the primary school. I wish that I could have been there to have gotten some names, but unfortunately I have work commitment. I will try to sneak away. I'm hoping that my principal it's through those venues that I go out on my own sometimes and look at these kids, get in contact with their parents, ask them, and so far gracefully through my club, we have some wonderful kids coming up. So what Preston and this group is going is big, because whether they came in first to last, they achieve maximum points for just going to the tournament. So their points that they accumulate on this tournament is actually helping the next U19 coming up.
Yeah. Are you looking at the teams that you'll be playing at the Continental Championship? Which team are you looking at as like that competition?
Since this is our first time qualifying at this tournament, we have the lowest ranking points. So usually the team that goes in with the lowest ranking points plays the team with the highest ranking points, and that's USA, because USA went and I believe they won the Pan American Games, the last U19. They won the NORCECA as well as the FIVB World Championships. So they will be facing probably more than likely USA. And USA has 6 of their returning players from the previous U19 team. So it's important now that we start to prepare strategically how we're going to compete against these teams, because volleyball is a systems game. You could sit down and you could analyze a team and devise a strategy to come up with a plan for your team offensively, how to go about tackling that team.
And are we watching videos of these guys and tips and whatnot?
To see how they
well that's what we're recommending for the guys for the past 2 weeks, for them to get abreast of the kids that they're going to play. And not like the internet right now that you can just plug in and I can see John playing and watch him. Because back then we just hear John is coming, he's a bad man. We just have to, watch out. But also in this group, we have 2 other Central American countries in which we're very familiar with, Guatemala and Nicaragua. So we believe,
and we've beaten these teams.
Yeah, and we we have beaten this team. So we're expecting to punch on those 2 and try to beat one of the powerhouse. Try to make something happen.
So, go ahead, John.
You know, let's get to Preston. I like the tons there. So, you know, Preston, one of the things that stood out to me that you made mention of, that you guys were beaten in some competition. That means there's some shortfalls that we've got. Can you pinpoint those shortfalls and what we can do to be better at those things?
Well, we beat Guatemala in U19, but we lost them in 4 sets. In Nicaragua.
What do you think caused you know, our team to lose to them?
Well, after we came back from the U19, we didn't have much practice time or much time being together. Unlike when we went for U19, so it was hard trying to figure things out while we were already out there.
So what's your hope for us to become successful out there? What are you hoping for?
We just have to work on communication and tone our skills, and we should be okay.
How does it feel when you are on the court with your team? How do you know when your partner is going to hand that ball over to you? How do you maneuver playing on the court?
Well, for me, I just zone in. I don't say much, which can be a problem at times.
Are you a killer hitter?
Could say that.
Bryton, how important it is that you know your team that well on a level where you can just sense they and give you the ball?
It's important. Volleyball is a team sport, and it's a sport that's all about communication. And if you don't have that chemistry with your teammates, then it's not going to be in sync. It's like Elton. Elton's been my setter since I started playing back in 2013 with the first national team, and it's natural now because we've played together so long.
We
know when something is off, but we still try to communicate because it's a constantly evolving process.
And I used to love volleyball like that because that setter knows, okay, if you guys are on the flank, then he knows, okay, I know John want the ball this high, yay high. Or if you're coming from behind that 10, I know that the ball is, so it must be about the communication as well. And you're totally right about that. But I want to get back again to Preston. Preston, your preparations for this one. What's your feeling going into these games? Are you a little nervous? Is there a certain team that you say, you know what, this is going to be my goal? When I was reading this over, I said to myself, man, like the teams like the US I'd want to beat. And I would want to show them that we are capable of.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
I've always been the person to be excited about playing bigger guys because everyone on the USA team is like, the shortest person is like Bryton height.
Are you what, 6'7", 6'6"?
6'5".
You see?
6'5".
So everybody's 6'5" and over.
So I think it's going to be fun playing bigger guys. And then you have Guatemala and Nicaragua, who we lost to at the U19 and the U21.
Are they bigger than us?
No. Nicaragua has small teams, but the guys play defense really well.
So they're very good defensive. Let's talk about our defense and offense. Yeah,
what they lack in one area, they make up in the other. We're just blessed with freakish athletes. It's not to jump just out the gym, but
they're like body don't so them boy jump over.
Yeah, natural like them ball eat frog leg. But we're just blessed with freakish athletes, like I said, and we're trying our best to put it together, and we know this is a big deal. And what we love is the exposure that these kids will get. Right?
On that note, where he's saying this is a big deal, I must also bring up the fact that this is a costly tournament as well.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that indeed.
I think it's important that we try to get as much private investors on board, we get the government on board to support these young men and to support the association, because we're going out there to represent our country and wave our flag.
We're ambassadors.
And the amount of exposure that comes with this level of tournament is
tourism, everything.
You talk about the brands. We can't even wear certain brands. We have to wear a specific brand, and we have to be able to ensure that those are the patented brand, not the stuff that you would buy at the Melcher board or Chatamal or
market.
It's not the fake brands. It has to be the real brand, because all these brands are looking on and ensuring that you have the patent.
You're well represented because they actually sponsor the entire tournament. So they want for you to be authentic with what you're doing.
Right.
And to add to what Bryton is saying, a simple trip like this is $30,000 to go right to Guatemala.
Oh, so this tournament is going to be held in Guatemala.
Yeah, it's going to be held in Guatemala. So the teams, the team Belize depart the 10th. We
the
travel
10th of what? When?
The 10th of March. We travel to Florida, Petén, Guatemala by bus, and then we fly from Petén all the way to Guatemala City on the airline.
Wow. So
$30,000. So we're hoping that, like Bryton said, the public, the private investors, the government come on board to make this. This is historical.
Yes.
We cannot.
Historical.
We don't know if we will get this chance again.
Yeah.
So I believe we should be hands-on. Everybody should be hands-on, right? And everybody should play a part. And I want to say kudos to Mr. Sharp. He was like under fire. When we got this call, he had like seconds to say yes or no. And after saying yes or no, it's saying yes to $30,000 that you don't even have. Where do I get it? But he has a say that he has instilled in us, and we believe that manna will fall from heaven. Right? So just by committing, he was under fire. And I believe with the help of the parents of these kids and other people that I'm sure will come on board, this will be possible. This will be made possible.
And this type of tournament is not a tournament that you want to turn down. This is because it's not only the men, but also the women.
Also, I wanted to get there too.
The women has their tournament coming up at the continental level as well in Sonora, Mexico in May.
Wow.
And so they're also practicing as well. But this type of exposure is important for our ranking going forward, because the other U19 team coming behind would be able to qualify easier at the Continental Championships.
What are your hopes for the future of Belizean volleyball after this competition? Win or lose, what do you want?
I want to see volleyball being that sport that is essentially setting precedents for what long-term athlete development does for an athlete's development, as well as propelling a sport to the next level, especially coming from a small island developing state or a developing country, that we could compete at the next level with all these first world countries, all these developed nations, and we could go toe-to-toe, fist-to-fist with them. I think that is important because it shows that sports is a conduit for education as well. And it interconnects. It shows that it's a developmental tool for a country, and it also keeps young men, young women actively involved in something that's positive.
Yeah. You know, my hope is that, you know, we're scouted. My hope is that we find a way to be together, especially with the authorities having these young men come together at least for a week or maybe a month. That would be best for them. Well, we ain't got a month. You're gonna a week, maybe 2 weeks. You know, put these guys together so they could be inclined with each other, have the conversations, and make sure that they propel this country to the next level. When they win, we say, yeah, that's we country, that's we Belize.
We have
then you know, but in order for them to do that, then we all need to come together, and let's propel them to the top.
So one more time, as we are completely out of time, gentlemen, when is the championship?
How do we see it?
Yeah,
you can watch it.
Yeah, it will be, the link will be, what happened when you go to this tournament? At the tournament, there is a link on game day. We ask everyone to stay abreast to the Belize Volleyball page. That is where all the links will be updated, and we will try to reach out as much to our friends and peers to have the word out on whatever social media outlet so that we could watch. The tournament is the 11th to the 18th of March in Guatemala, like we said. I believe the schedule is out. So, like Bryton said, we should be playing the first day.
They're an hour ahead, right? So they're an hour ahead, right? So if they're 8 o'clock, that's 7 o'clock for week time. Okay. Wonderful.
All right. So now we know, and we wish the team all the very best. Well, I'll tell you what, Preston.
Congratulations, though. Again, winner loses is a big deal.
Big.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Preston, you're going good, you know.
We hope that we could be here coming back with some good news.
Some medals around your necks. That would be great. Gentlemen, best of luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Well, so from the historical conversation of volleyball, or the volleyball history that is being made, William, you think we could make one historical drink?
We could try it right here because apparently it is Midtown's secret margarita mix and it's all the rage. And we have the bartender from Midtown here today to show us.
Chef Rachel, he's here. So we're gonna be mixing up a storm, not for the volleyball people, not for the volleyball people.
You can stick around.
We'll be mixing up a storm with Midtown when we come back.